Burchard.
Good evening, my name is Elizabeth Burkhardt, and I would like to address this evening the recent senior citizen breakfast hosted Friday morning, March 11th in the Field House at Lincoln Way East. It is my understanding that this is an annual event hosted by the Lincoln Way High School District 210 Board of Education and has been held for over 22 years. This is a nice tradition, but it is not a luxury our district can afford. And the timing was particularly inappropriate because this year's event came right on the heels of the teacher cuts approved at the last Board of Education meeting on March 10th. It was sobering to hear the announcement of those 31 teachers' names. They are the fallout victims of this serious mismanagement of our school funds. The next morning, just 12 hours later, administrators extended handshakes and warm smiles as you greeted nearly 500 senior citizens arriving in droves for a school-hosted breakfast, entertainment by all 4 high school chorales, and a district overview by Dr. Tingley. I'm very curious to know how all of you on the Board of Education, since you are listed as the hosts of the event, found it in your hearts to host a meal for senior citizens just after you voted on a reduction in force that left 31 teachers out in the cold next year. What's more, I am extremely curious to know how it is even legal to host such an event, all on the taxpayers' dimes. Please tell me how the money you spend on this event benefits one single student in our school district. Also, we cannot forget that August 13th, you voted to shutter an 8-year-old building, which will result in the displacement of 46% of the Lincoln Way population to different Lincoln Way schools next year. That's almost 2,500 students, and also in that number includes 480 seniors who will now not graduate from the school they attended the first 3 years of their high school careers. Let me repeat that for you. 480 senior students will be moved to a different school for their senior year. And our community will continue to pay off the bonds on that shuttered building until 2033 while it sits empty. So, again, I need to ask, what was your reasoning in spending our tax dollars on a breakfast for senior citizens? How does this help our situation? It seems that this was just another venue to espouse the administration's new message that the district will operate more efficiently with 3 schools. That is just wrong. A great number of the people you see here today have been attending these board meetings for the last year. As you can see, we are not going anywhere. We have a very vested interest in making sure that our problems get fixed. We are watching. Unfortunately, none of us recall hearing anything about this breakfast at these meetings. When was this sizable event discussed? When were the funds appropriated? We have watched you agonize over the expenditures made to cover the cost of the administration of the ACT tests. We have listened as you debate whether or not kids should be permitted to have a day off to attend a competition or an extracurricular activity that means a great deal to them. But I'm sorry, I have never heard you discuss this event you host annually for senior citizens. The one that also just happens to fall coincidentally on the Friday before Election Day. I find the hosting of this event deeply disturbing, and after the last 12 months, I would have hoped that each of you would have felt the same way. We are taking out tax anticipation warrants to make it through this school year, yet you took it upon yourselves to host this breakfast. So really, we will not only pay for this event, but we will also pay interest on it, because when you are taking out loans to keep it all going, you're essentially paying more for everything you do. I know that the choirs sang and it was a lovely event. I know that the senior citizens probably loved it, although I did hear several of them that were quite dismayed that for the first time no opportunity for questions and answers. Somehow, I wasn't surprised to hear that at all. Is it a bad idea to invite the seniors to the school? Absolutely not. Allowing the kids to perform for anyone in the community is a wonderful idea, but I resent you spending money we provide for our kids' education on it. I really don't know how you managed to even get around it legally. That money is not yours for putting toward anything except the education of our children. At this time, this event was hosted by this administration. You all had to be aware of it because each of your individual names as the Board of Education, with the exception of Dr. Casey and Mr. Luchetti, is on the invitation and the program as hosting it. So please, share with me, with us, how you can possibly rationalize this expense. Thank you.